Blessings, everyone. Hope you are all doing very well here. It's time for another Talking Tarot installment, the series that just sort of spawned and titled itself, which is absolutely fantastic because I am not very good at coming up with titles for any of my videos. I have not moved. I am in the same room. I have just been moving things around a bit, and I decided to move a lot of my stuff into another room of the house, and so here we are. And in order to make that work, I also had to put my desk closer to the window, and that meant no more backdrop. And I'm still getting used to all of the white myself, so bear with me as this transition continues. In this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about a few topics that are pretty big in tarot. They kind of come up and then they go down, and they come up and they go down. And some folks have been asking me questions about them, and I have a lot to say. We're going to be talking about tarot card reversals, how to shuffle your deck so that you do or do not get reversals, because it's really just about how you shuffle the deck, actually. And we're also going to be talking about certificate programs and master classes. But to start, I'm going to answer a couple of questions that I received from viewers from the last Talking Tarot video. And so if you ever want to ask a question and it might be something that is very helpful for a lot of people to have answered, I would love to be able to plug that into the next video. Also, I did want to make a mention, we hit a bit of a snag. I'm doing my end of the year New Year's special on my website, integrativemysticism.com, discounted 15-minute video report, tarot and astrology. You can just ask any one question or two questions you want that you are looking to maybe achieve or, see happen this coming year, and I do a reading about it and see how things are going to play out, what we can do. And we had some issues with how the pricing was showing up. I had made a separate item and it was discounted, but the price was not the right price, and it was just weird how the coding didn't get embedded properly. That is fixed, and so for those of you who would like to take advantage of that, the sale goes on through New Year's Eve, so might want to get on that. That does tend to get very popular as we get closer to the back half of December. Always has. And again, that's at integrativemysticism.com, my website. So to start, I want to answer the viewer questions from the last Talking Tarot video. And the first one is from Chocolate Sugar. Chocolate Sugar's question is it necessary for clients to give you their birth date information if they are just reading tarot? And this is not necessary in my experience. If it's just tarot, I just need a name, whether it's for the person I'm reading or if they're asking a question about another person. I do not necessarily require birth dates for that. I might ask in the middle of the reading if I feel like I might be able to glean some kind of information, some kind of clue about somebody, maybe their age, their sign, that kind of thing. But I let the reading do the work first, and then we kind of go and figure all the nitty-gritty out later. Now, that is just me, however. Some people might like to have that information on hand because it helps them forge a more clear connection with what they are looking at or the person that they are doing the reading for. But it's not strictly necessary, and that's not something everybody is going to do. I don't even ask for it, and I am an astrologer, but I'll only ask for birth date, time, and location of birth when I'm loading a chart. And I have plenty of clients who say, I just want tarot only, and they don't leave any of that, and we do just fine. Next question comes from Amanda K, and she asks, does not being in the physical presence of a person make a difference? Now, for me, the answer is no, but this really gets down into what type of reading that person is doing, and does it help or does it hurt? Because sometimes too much of a connection with that person, too much energy getting exchanged, can be very detrimental to the reading. If a person is in a situation where they are more like an empath and they're not really doing a psychic reading and they're not doing an intuitive reading, they're doing more of an empathic kind of deal, then it does help to have a physical presence or live contact of some kind, whether it is on the phone or on Zoom or on Skype or WhatsApp or something like that. However, it's not crucial 100% of the time. This is, again, a case-by-case basis. We're not all the same reader, and we are not all of the same spiritual path, right? Just because you're spiritual or have a certain connection to an element of the wider span of, let's just say, the metaphysical world, it does not necessarily mean you have the same path, training, or spirit as somebody else. And so this is going to be a question of personal style. For me, obviously, I do readings online, and it is just me, by the way, guys. You don't get a reading from me and then just like have me outsource it to somebody in an entourage. It is me personally. But I do not need to be in the physical presence of the person that I am reading. I do video reports where I don't even have them live. But that is because I'm also doing psychic readings. And when you are working on different levels of, okay, is it empathic? Is it more of an intuitive thing? Is it more psychic? Is it mediumship? Is it what is going on there? You're engaging sort of different wavelengths, and different wavelengths need certain different kinds of contact, different types of, let's just say, exchanges to occur. And so if a person is, again, doing more of a psychic reading, no, they don't need to. It's a case-to-case basis. So I hope that makes sense. There really isn't just sort of like a blanket across-the-board rule. There isn't really a blanket across-the-board rule for any of this, right? Because it's not a religion. But yeah, I don't personally need to be in the physical presence of people. I used to do parties and things like that way back in the day, about, 14, 15 years ago. And I was in the presence of people, obviously, at that point, psychic fairs and things like that, but it's not crucial. And sometimes, again, depending on the reading itself, if you are in a situation where you need to distance yourself from the client or maybe from the subject that you're reading about, because the energy, whether it's the etheric energy or the emotional energy or the mental energy, is out of whack or something is out of balance, it can actually be better to not be so entwined or interwoven. It makes it easier to keep the energy of the reading clear and clean and protected and detach once it's done. And so again, it all depends on the reading itself. Sorry, I hope that makes sense. So thank you again, Chocolate Sugar and Amanda K. You are awesome, and I really appreciate questions that come forward because I'm always curious to see where people are. And I just like answering the questions. I like talking about this. I want to talk about the craft, right? That's my whole thing. And if you do want to be able to engage in more AMAs and Q&As and things like that, I am bringing back my old Patreon lives. And the first one is coming up here on the 15th of December, Thursday. We're going to be talking about Yule, as well as the atmospheric, energetic, and astrological energies that are going to be with us from the 21st of December through the 2nd of February, kind of covering the Yule to Imbolc span. And so if you want to sign up for that, you can go to my Patreon page. It's only $5 a month membership to have access to the lives. And so there you go. Let's get on to reversals, talking about tarot card reversals. The reason I wanted to talk about that in this video is because, of course, a lot of you know I have another channel. It's my business channel, SonofSelene. That's where I do all my tarot forecasts and astrology videos and horoscopes and monthlies and all of that. And every once in a while, I will, of course, come across some rather, panicked, superstitious comments about the quantity of reversed cards that might show up in a spread. And this is not really anything new. It's just that in the wake of a lot of the online craze over the last 10 years around things like tarot and astrology and the New Age, and even the personal development movement and all of the distortions that kind of come from that, a lot of old myths and old superstitions kind of got revived and, interestingly enough, employed even for, let's just say, less than reputable people to try and scam a profit out of people who don't know better. Tarot card reversals are not indicative of negativity just because they exist. Tarot card reversals don't always mean that bad things are happening. There are plenty of positive reversed cards. And tarot cards do not mean that the deck is somehow corrupt or maligned in any way, shape, or form, or that there's something wrong with the question, or there's something wrong with the querent, or that nobody should be doing a reading right now. The tarot itself, is a balance of positive, negative, and neutral experiences. All 78 cards, You've got equal amounts positive and negative, and then you have mostly neutral, mostly situational. And when you reverse those cards, they don't go to negative just because they're reversed. You just double up on the vocabulary that you are working with. So instead of having 78 cards, equal positive, equal negative, and then majority neutral, you've got 156 cards, equal positive, equal negative, and equal neutral. And so there's a bit of a need to kind of pay attention to where the histrionics and the melodrama are coming from. Because there are people out there that have successfully scammed people that are maybe new or naive or superstitious or fearful or gullible into spending money and maybe giving their trust to the wrong reader or to the wrong practitioner. It's kind of like those trashy scam artists who in the middle of just a reading say, you're cursed, somebody cursed your family in a past life, or, you know, your mom wronged somebody and never told you and now you've got bad karma and you need to pay me $2,000 to get this curse off of you or heal you right now. Okay, that is old. That is older than the internet. Tarot reversals, just because they show up, are not bad. Okay, it's important to keep that in mind. There are plenty of cards in the tarot deck that are better when reversed than they are upright. And there are some cards that are, you know, maybe even just not possible to turn negative. And I got a few of those for you right here. Okay, so the Eight of Swords, for instance, upright. It's about entrapment. It's about being attached to things that are weighing you down. It's about being stuck, paralyzed mentally, socially, emotionally, influent, inflexible. Things are not moving. Things are stuck. And while there is an opportunity for escape, nobody is taking the responsibility of fixing the situation. However, when we have this card reversed, now we have freedom, right? The bonds have been cut, the cords have been cut, there is release, a blockage is getting taken away, we have more flow. That is a perfect example of a card that you would much rather have reversed than upright. Or if you say, look at the Four of Wands upright. Positive, it's all about celebration, victories, breakthroughs, crossing milestones, graduations. The Four of Wands reversed is also positive. It's just there's a bit more work involved. It's not getting worse or becoming negative just because it's reversed. I always tell people when I'm teaching my classes, you know, the Four of Wands upright is the gala. It's the party, it's the banquet, it's the wedding reception, it's the graduation. And the Four of Wands reversed is just the setting up, right? We're doing some troubleshooting, we're getting all the cooking going, we're setting up the decorations. Yeah, we might be cleaning up the mess hall a little bit, but everything altogether is still going in the right direction. And again, there is a balance already of positive, negative, and neutral cards in upright tarot and in reversed tarot. You're just expanding the vocabulary. Now, I do also want to share with you a little technique, which is just about how you shuffle and how it's been abused in sleight of hand by, let's just say, wannabe readers to look like there is maybe a greater amount of spiritual purity or cleanliness because of a lack of reversed cards. How to make sure that you do have reversed cards or you don't have reversed cards all comes down to the way you are shuffling. Once you have maybe cleansed and reset your deck, right, we've set all of the cards up right, all you need to do is make sure that when you are shuffling, that you are making sure that the tops of the cards are facing one way and the bottoms are always facing the opposite way. And you will never have reversed cards. If you have the tops of the cards facing each other, or the bottoms facing each other, you will of course then be incorporating reversed cards into your deck. Now we are starting to get reversed, and it starts to mix up a little bit more. A lot of people out there choose not to read tarot reversals, and that's totally valid. That is something that, people have chosen to do forever. And so that is up to you as to whether or not you want to incorporate that into your work. But it has nothing to do with whether or not the cards, the question, the querent, the client, or you are of a certain vibration or not. So don't be tricked. Don't be scammed by the trash that's just been looking for an easy way to make money from home. Let's just hear no more about that. Let's just let that be. Let's just move on with our lives and get going. Another topic that a lot of people have been asking me, even querents and clients have been asking me, is about the legitimacy of certificate programs and master classes. And am I a certified tarot reader, which I am not? Am I a certified astrologer, which I am not? And would it be good for them? Is it wise for them to do that? And I have thoughts. I have feelings about this whole topic, and it's probably a lot to go into all at once because I know this video is already going on a little bit long. Certificate programs and masterclass programs are very new. They are less than 15 years old. Tarot and astrology are not new. They are millennia old. And so we are dealing with something that is, a creation. There is the promise of some kind of label of accreditation that you don't need, that I personally feel is just there to take your money. Because a lot of the certificate program and masterclass stuff anyway is just kind of it's another consequence of a lot of this personal development, new age self-help stuff that exists, interestingly enough, within a bubble. People actually don't trust certificate waivers. If you got some good out of it, that is absolutely fantastic. And again, I'm not insulting you or saying that you're a bad person because you went out and did it. However, you don't need it. If you are sold on the idea that it would inspire confidence in people that are maybe not feeling secure in the idea, they're not feeling maybe confident in their own skills, or they want to put new people at ease, you got to see who you're talking to when it comes to these new people. The personal development bubble is not as big as you think it is. New age bubble is not as big as you think it is. And for those of you who feel like you can't read tarot or you can't do astrology or you can't go into business until you have a certificate, again, that is in a finite bubble. They don't trust masterclass waivers. They really don't. And a lot of the unfortunate manipulations that have kind of come, because I'm not judging people who went out and got them, by the way. If you have them, that's perfectly fine. If it helped you, if it gave you a boost in your skills and it really helped you wake up a lot of your own abilities, I'll never take that away from you. This video can't take that away from you, and that is really great. However, a lot of people out there are not reading tarot. They're not doing astrology. They're making money by selling astrology certificates and selling tarot certificates. And it's not quite a pyramid scheme. It's more like a viral infection in the community, but it's there. It is only as big as it is because it's been artificially propped up by algorithms, AI, and outsized influence. So outsized influence, for those of you who are not familiar with that term, is just basically where an idea, a person, a concept, whatever, is very prolific in spite of the fact that the topic in question is a very small topic or a very small corner of that world of the conversation. We live in a world that, has a lot of very online people, a lot of bots, and of course the algorithm itself, which responds to prolific engagement. And so when we look and see numbers that, by the way, our monkey brains don't process very well. They don't conceptualize size beyond 1 million very accurately. We can sometimes take on a peer pressure or self-impose a peer pressure to follow the herd. Masterclasses and certificates, if they are offering good training and you really, really want it, don't feel bad about running out and getting it. But it's not about the certificate. It is about the technique. And you will eventually need to just abandon that and go your own way anyway if you want to be a good spiritual practitioner. The problem with the masterclass and certificate peer pressure or self-imposed pressure is that, again, like I said, it exists in its own little vacuum. And if you are getting certificates to impress people who buy into the certificate thing, you're not working with as large a population as you think. Outsized influence. You see 1 million people got something and your brain is going to think, oh my God, that's 1 million, that's huge. 1 million is less than 1% of the US population. Okay, just to give you an idea of that. It's kind of like when we look at influencers online. It's not as big as we think it is. Our brains, our human brains, do not measure beyond 1 million accurately much of the time. It's kind of why a lot of people think that 1 billion and 1 million are closer together than they really are. A person who has $5 billion is actually 1,000 times richer than somebody with $5 million. And it's not because, humanity is stupid or the people who can't tell that are stupid. Our brains just don't work that way. We don't know how those numbers kind of stack together. We can't make a picture of it in our heads. We're just not physically built that way. And so when we look at prolific social media posts from prolific posters, prolific tweeters, or very online people, bots, and AI, or people who are effectively just acting like AI, we can start to think that things are more important and more vital than they really are. People have been reading tarot for a very, very long time and reading astrology for a very, very long time, very successfully without having their masterclass certificates. And not very many people know the names that are attached to these certificates. You might think, oh, well, this one is the certificate that I got from Mary Smith, and Mary Smith is huge in the community. It's actually not a very big community. And you never know. What if Mary Smith, goes completely crazy and reveals that this was all just a phase for her? That would not be so great for anyone trying to maybe name drop. And you should not be going into situations where certificates are just there for an opportunity for name dropping anyway. But that's been a big part of the problem this last few years. So as far as certificate programs and masterclasses go, you don't need them. Nobody needs them. It exists within a very finite, very small community that looks bigger because it is because of prolific social media endowment, not because there's anyone there. So I hope that made sense. It's just something I really wanted to get out there, and I hope I didn't hurt anybody's feelings. I'm not here to make you feel stupid for getting a certificate or anything along those lines. Like I said, if you got something out of that and you are, really feeling like this jump-started your work and you've become a way better astrologer or tarot reader or numerologist because of it, that is really great. And again, anything I say here can't take away the technique that you developed from it. I mean, it's not like, you're going to be one of those people that is just getting a certificate so you can go certify people and spread the infection, right? And that is a thing. It's really problematic. I disown them all. But that used to be a thing. It's not as bad as it used to be, because I think a lot of this personal development stuff and new agey, hypey stuff is wrapping up. It's going away. It's going to fall apart. I'll be talking about that here in a future video on my other channel about, how 2023 looks. So that's all I'm going to say about that for now. Looking at the time and looking at the clock, I realized I've gone, again, a bit over what I expected to do for this particular video, and I am going to be taking off. I'm going to be spending some time with family today, so I need to go get ready for that. I hope you guys found this helpful, and, if you ever do have any questions, you want me to talk more about tarot or astrology, or, maybe you want to ask more about reversals or more of my thoughts about, different phenomena, what's going on in the spiritual world or the spiritual community world, I'm all ears. Leave a comment in the down bar below, and I will see you all again very soon. Thank you so much for dropping by. Take care.